Good. Okay, good stuff. Thank you. And you can see my screen as well, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Good. Thank you so much. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Myself, Gautam Kapoor. I'm doing these webinars for a long time now, since probably pretty much, COVID put us into the webinar space a little bit. So I want everyone to take advantage of that. So I'm going to share a lot of information, make your notes, ask your questions. I want this to be as interactive as possible, because this is to help you basically, right? That's the idea. Any questions you have, don't think it's a stupid question, ask away. Someone can get advantage from that question, right? So that's the idea here. Camera on or off from your side, your choice. I'm fine with that. Find that chat box, say hi, whatever there, so you have access to the chat. You can stack up your questions there. What I will be doing, I'll be doing my presentation here, but I will go from time to time into the chat box to answer any questions anybody has, right? So any of your particular situations, any general questions you have, I'm gonna cover a lot. So I'm gonna get going on to my presentation, right? So, but yes, keep putting your questions in the chat, and we want to address every question possible. That's the idea out of this session. I want you to get as much value as you can from this session, okay? So I'm gonna get going now from this session. First, I always start with a market update. So, and everybody should know that what's going on in the market. So that's where I start always. So this is our market watch for Greater Toronto Area from the data published by our regional real estate board, Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, which I'm a member of. We always get the data for like March. We just got the data this month, right? So we're always 1 month behind what is happening. So there's a lot of things on this presentation that I'm sharing, but I want you to pay attention basically to the bottom right corner there, year over year summary, where sales in March of 2026, we had 5,039 sales, which were up 1.7% compared to March of 2025, right? That you can see at the bottom there in the presentation right here. New listings are down 14,442 compared to 17,340. So they're down 16%. So what that means is our inventory is shrinking. And this is typical for spring because sales do start jumping up. And I'll share some other factors too that are kind of affecting this as well, right? Active listings are down about 8% that you can see. Average price is down 6.7% from last year, same time, and as you can see there, but it has gone up slightly from last month, and I'm going to share that in the slide as well further down. Average listing days on the market and average property days on the market. So if you look at average property days on the market, which is showing a number higher, 47 days it takes on an average to sell a home in GTA, which is up 27% compared to last year. So just we know that its market is slow, but it's I think almost hit the bottom. So that's what I want to kind of give you from this slide here. There's another stat that we look at every month. There's a lot of numbers on this slide too, but I want you to pay attention to months inventory, where I'm pointing right now, the column in the middle here towards the right. How many months of inventory we have on the market? If we don't get any more properties on the market today, starting today, how much time will it take for us to sell all the inventory? So total average, all trap areas, the average is 4.9. And you can see consistently down in the gray color. In Halton region is 4.6 months inventory. Peel region is 5.4, a little bit more. City of Toronto 5 months. York region 5.5 months. Durham region is shrinking a little bit, 3.5. Dufferin region has got 4.7 months. Simcoe County 6.7 months. What that tells you is if this number is higher than 3, that means it's a buyer's market. So basically it's perfect time for buyers to take advantage of, right? So that's what I want to share from this slide here. Another thing to look at here is the average selling price that I was talking about, that even though it's down from last year, if you look at from March 2025, it was 1,090,000, and this is average, right? In all over GTA. So right now it's 1,017,000, which is 6.7% down compared to last year. But if you look at it's 0.4% plus compared to previous month, right? So it's just, if you look at February 2026, it's 1,003,777 compared to sorry, that was February 2026 last month, and now it's 1,007,490. So it's slightly up. I think the market's kind of bottomed right now. The other thing we have to talk about is the mortgage rates are also affecting, because we are in a territory where we've got best mortgage rates right now. And I have my friend on the call here as well that I'm going to introduce you to a little bit down the road for a couple of few more slides, and then I'm going to introduce him to you as well, and he'll talk about the mortgages too. But what's happening in overall mortgage industry, the mortgage rates are the lowest possible, but eventually they will start to go up. I have seen some of the banks have raised their fixed interest rates over last month or two, because I'm in the market there looking at interest rates very closely. Variable rates still attractive, but fixed has, it was below 4, but I think it has jumped over 4% now if anybody is kind of looking to buy at this moment. So we'll talk about that also in a minute. So let me continue. So this is what I want to share on the pricing slide. Let me go to next slide. A few more people joined. Welcome, everybody. And session is also being recorded, so everybody will get a copy at the end as well. So just sharing that also out there. And as I said, put your questions in the chat, as many questions as you can. I'll be going back and forth between my slides and the chat, and I'll be answering any questions you have. And because I want you to get advantage from this session here. Okay, so slides, I mean, this is basically the contents that I have, I'm gonna cover. There's a lot of information here, but I guess, I mean, some slides I might spend a little bit more time depending on the relevance. Some I might skip through quickly. And I will share my Calendly link in the chat as well. That way you guys will have the opportunity to book a one-on-one session with me. Let me just share that in the chat if you can see. Yeah, there it is, gtarealestatetoday.com/book. I just put it in the chat. The idea here is that I'm want to share as much information as possible here, but the next step would be that you can book a one-on-one call with me where I can talk about one-on-one. There is no obligation in that call. It's basically a virtual call that we do, understand where you are at in the market. Are you kind of planning to buy in next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever the time frame might be, and develop a strategy so you can own a home as you plan, kind of thing to do. Okay. So I did share that link in the chat, so you can even book those meetings as we speak. I'll be sharing that link like few times in the chat again and again. Okay, here. So basically, as a real estate agent, my mission is always to help you to find the best home at the best price with least amount of hassle. And I'm going to touch on the systems that I have in place from which we take the support, which I'm going to kind of share through further slides. Here, quick introduction about me. Myself, Gautam Kapoor. I received my real estate license in 2007. I've been doing real estate since 2007. So I've got decades of expertise and knowledge. I've lived all in GTA here. I purchased my first home in 2003 in 2004, sorry, in Brampton. And then I lived in Brampton. Then I moved to another home in Brampton. And currently I live in Vaughan, Kleinburg area to be specific, where I moved 4 years ago. So just kind of, I've lived in the community, so I know what GTA market is all about. I even was awarded Outstanding Achievement Award in 2023 from my broker. And I am licensed realtor for licensed all over Ontario. So if you're looking for buying a property in any part of Ontario, I would be able to help you. There's no issues there. I currently am working with some buyers for Milton. I've got buyers that are looking to buy a home in Niagara Falls area. So I'm kind of traveling all over the place. I do help investors as well buying homes in secondary markets. And I'll touch on that a little bit further down in the slides. But if you want to know more about investment properties, we can talk about that in a separate one-on-one session as well, right? Just to kind of share something. And then I am licensed through Real Estate Council of Ontario, as all real estate agents are. I'm a member of Canadian Real Estate Association. I'm a member of Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. As I said, my office is right in Mississauga that you can see the slide. My address, it's Huron, Ontario and Matheson area, 5700 Cancross Road in Suite 103. And I'm happy to meet anybody in my office personally as well in face to face, because that's kind of, I like doing that, meeting people face to face there as well. Okay. Let me go to next slide here. Okay, so I'm going to introduce my friend Tony Brar. He's a mortgage agent. He's on the call as well with us from Dominion Lending Centers. I've been working with Tony for a number of years. I've recommended a lot of clients to Tony over the years. He's an independent mortgage broker. He has worked with the bank previously. So right now he's working independently with his license, and he supports a lot of my clients over the years. He is currently working with some of my clients right now as well. Tony, you want to come on the camera and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Gautam. I'm Tony Brar, and I've been working with Gautam for a number of years. I used to work at the CIBC, and I worked at TD as well. I worked about 9 years at CIBC. I worked about 4 years at TD, and I was also a financial advisor for the police credit union as well for about 4 years. So, all in all, about 20 years in mortgages and real estate lending. And as Gautam mentioned, I work with DLC. We are the biggest brokerage in the company, and we have access to all the A lending banks such as CIBC, TD, BMO, Scotia, and credit unions and alternative lending as well. And it's as Gautam mentioned, it is a buyer's market. We're seeing that as well with the number of applications we're getting, and the interest rates. They're still insured if you're putting down less than 20%, they're still below 4%.
Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
did anyone have a question?
Sorry, no, I think somebody got an off mute, but that's okay. Carry on.
Yeah, so we're here to help you guys in your house journey. We're here to make it easier for you guys, make it very transparent. This is what we do.
Karanbir, can you please go on mute? Sorry.
So, if you guys have any questions at any time, use the chat.
Yeah.
As Gautam's doing his presentation, I will do my best to answer your questions on the chat as well.
Yeah, so Tony's been an excellent partner that I have. Like, he's got access to all the banks. He's got access to B lenders if somebody needs that too. Not that he would want to push B lenders on, but it's the option is available. He's got access to private funds too as required and all that. So he's worked over the years, and that's where Tony can play a big role. And it's not all about contacting Tony and Tony's going to say, okay, send me these documents right away. No, first it's all about a phone conversation. And on the phone, he will chat, discuss the numbers, ask you questions, and kind of say verbally, tell you, okay, this is what your pre-approval looks like, right? So that's that's always the idea, to kind of connect with Tony, right? That's why I share his information. So put your questions, anything related to mortgage, put it in the chat. Again, Tony can answer that in the chat as well. And happy to, when you book a meeting with me, I can happy to partner with Tony, connect you with Tony as required, as your needs kind of feel, because he has access to, like he said, all the banks. So he can do your mortgage with any bank of your choice, or any bank that can give you the best terms, mortgage terms, and best rates, right, possible. Okay, let me go to the next slide. All right, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about team approach. So when I am basically, representing you as buyer's agent, you don't get only me, like you get basically my whole team. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit in this slides show here as well. Before I get into that, I just want everybody to know, like, 72%, this is the stat, 72% of the buyers do not go back to the same real estate agent. Why? Because of all these issues listed on the left, right? Poor communication, over promise, under delivered, too busy, they didn't return my call, lack of professionalism. And I stay left, right, and center around these issues. So, because I don't want anybody to have this kind of an issue. I have built my business for years and years. I get a lot of referrals, repeat clients. I have a lot of them. I have, in fact, a guy who he sold his condo in Brampton. He bought a condo in Kitchener. Now I sold his condo in Kitchener, and he purchased another condo in Kitchener. So basically, I get a lot of repeat clients because I am left, right, and centers around these issues. I make sure if you are kind of communication, there's no miscommunication, there is no issues in me returning your call, returning your messages. I'm just a phone call away, text message away, an email away. Okay. Just I thought I'll just share this kind of stat as well as interesting. What most of the realtors do, ABCs of real estate, so they will advertise homes in order to get you to call them. They'll beg you to come in and talk with them. They'll choose a bunch of homes they think you will like. They will drive you from house to house, showing you few homes, encourage you to make an offer on every house you see. And a lot of people I feel start frustrating because the homes they are seeing are not the ones they're liking, right? And then the real estate agent tries to bend on their knees to hope you will buy something out of those homes that they've showed. We work differently than that approach. So that's where I just thought I'll just kind of share that with me. They are more like a one-man show. So they're kind of running around doing everything. So there's limited resources they have and time and energy they have. That's why then miscommunication happens and lack of communication happens. All those issues start to pop up, right? So with those one-man shows. Here with me, you're getting whole access to my team. So here is my team that I want to just share everybody. Scott Gilmore, he's my real estate broker. He's like a phone call away. He's in my office with me Monday to Friday. He has got 45 years in the business. He still actively sells and buys properties for his clients. So he's very active. We meet once a week, every week, kind of together, go over what's going on in the market and what's going on with all the agents in our team. We have about teams of about 40 agents in our kind of brokerage in Mississauga. Michelle Gilmore, she's our marketing executive. She does all our marketing. Nadia, she is our deals administrator. She does all the paperwork, manages all the things, forwarding to the lawyer and things like that. Tatiana Londono is my mentor. She's a top producing real estate agent in Montreal. We have a weekly call with her and utilizing her strategies. Andrew is our Facebook marketing consultant. I think you probably have come through internet marketing through meta ad, like through Facebook or Instagram ad. I think that's where you clicked and came to my kind of webinar to register. So that's probably ads run through Michelle and Andrew basically. So when you're working with me, you get access to the whole team. It's not only me working and trying to support you. That's the idea. I want to kind of share that with you. So with that team approach, everybody's got a role to play. So you're not getting like a one-man show trying to run everything. It's you get access to everybody. We've got everybody doing different things. Admin person would do admin work, marketing division will do the marketing and advertising, right? Even if somebody has to sell a property, we have to do social media marketing, we have to do print marketing. All that is done through our marketing executive Michelle. Transaction coordinations taken care of, we've got accounting taken care of, and myself will be the agent. I'm basically booking and showing you properties that you want to see and you like. Okay. um, and also one other thing, like I said, Tony, I've got on the call. He will help you get you the best financing at lowest rates and terms for you, right? So, and with the homes how I show, we will beat other buyers to get you the best home for you. So, and we negotiate the lowest price and best terms for you. We meet your home buying needs with the least amount of hassle. That's my kind of target to kind of help you on. Now I'm going to quickly go over the home buying process quickly. You might know certain things and all that. I'm going to go through step by step. So I always say to everybody, step number one, mortgage pre-approval. That's why I've got Tony here on the line. Always meet your lender if you're working with your bank, and that's fine as well, right? There's no issues there. You can work with your bank if you're comfortable with your bank mortgage advisor. Fine, work with them. If you're looking for an independent mortgage broker, reach out to me. I'll connect you to Tony. He can talk to you numbers and talk to you, what income you're making and things like that, and go through the whole pre-approval process. And also he can help you locking in the best interest rate. Also, you will understand the monthly payments based on the budget and stuff like that, right? So the idea is with that pre-approval, you are clear with your budget that how much money you're going to spend in buying a property, right? So you shop with clarity and strength because you know. So we will not go over your budget. If your home is $700,000, I'm not going to show you $1 million home or a $800,000 home because that is not in your budget, right? So we will stick to our budget. That's the idea of mortgage pre-approval. That's why I say to everybody, that's our step number one and very important step. And a lot of buyers tend to miss that step and then start to say, well, I want to go see properties. I don't work that way. I always want them to find their budget and then tell me, and not like, because a lot of people can get disappointed, right? If you're seeing $1 million home versus your budget is 700,000, you're gonna like $1 million home, but then you will be wasting time. I'll be wasting time. We'll be putting offers on, and your financing will not come through, right? So that causes frustration, right? So we don't want to do that. That's why mortgage pre-approval is always the first step and important step. Once that is done and we know our budget, second step, I meet you face to face in my office. So where we sign a formal agreement with myself, where it defines a working relationship with me representing you as a buyer. It all outlines the commission structure. As a buyer in Ontario, you do not pay any commission to me. It's all paid by the seller, but it will be all outlined in that agreement that you sign with me. We set term like from what time we are signing the agreement, from what date we are signing the agreement from, and until when we are signing the agreement. And that will depend on your need, right? So how long you want to be signing the agreement for. And also we set even the geographic area, like depending on where you're looking for your home, could be Niagara Falls, could be Milton, could be Mississauga, could be, in the eastern end of, Toronto, like Oshawa, or in Peterborough, or you could be in Pickering, Ajax. So I kind of tend to drive all over the places, all these cities, and just kind of so that representation agreement basically clears commitment with me and you, and that helps me clearly representing you in a fair and transparent way, right? It protects your interests. It clarifies the expectations, basically what I'm going to be doing for you. And again, I'm going to be basically representing you and doing negotiation support for you, right? That's the idea there for that step number two. Let me go to the next slide. Third step, home search, like basically reviewing listings, analyzing comparable sales, evaluating property taxes, condo fees, if it's a condo or a condo townhouse, resale potential. And then I book and attend showings, right? So basically that's the value I provide there. Then once you like the property and you say, Gautam, yes, we are good with this property, we want to buy it, then I will draft agreement of purchase and sale for you, which will have purchase price, deposit amount, closing date, which is the date when you get the keys. Any conditions there we put in for financing, home inspection, status certificate if it's a condo maintained property. Any inclusions in the property with the property, like appliances and things like that, any exclusions, and offer deadline. So we determine all that and draft it for you. That's where we do it. And the idea there is basically, working on the best terms for you, getting the lowest price possible and getting the strong terms, right? And in terms of the agreement, that's where we come and play with the negotiation process. Next part is deposit. So a lot of people ask me like, okay, how much deposit do we want to pay? Like it all depends on the property value. Typically 3 to 5% of purchase price. If your property is like 500,000, I would say you can get away with 10, 15, $20,000. If you're buying $1 million property, maybe you want to do a deposit a little bit higher. At the end of the day, that deposit is going towards your down payment anyways, right? So, but more the deposit is, we are showing we are serious about buying that property, and seller is willing to work with us with more seriousness. That's the idea behind that, giving that deposit to show that we have the money to buy. We are not just kind of, putting $5 here and saying we're going to buy. You know what I mean? That just shows our seriousness. And that deposit is typically due within 24 hours of the offer acceptance. It's held in listing brokerage trust account until the closing date. Then it gets applied towards your down payment, right? So, Um, condition period, so common conditions we put on any agreement is financing approval, home inspection, status certificate review by a lawyer. That's kind of, we can discuss that. Those are the conditions I typically put in. And typical timeline for those conditions could be anywhere from 3 to 10 business days. For financing, it usually take about 5 business days. That's typically we end up taking, which Tony can help you with through getting the financing approval. And once we know financing is a go, then we can do the home inspection right away as well, right? That's the idea there. Um, and then once we remove all those conditions, it becomes a firm deal. Then there are no conditions remaining. It becomes a legal binding between you and the seller. Then you start beginning your closing preparations, you're arranging your home insurance, booking your movers and transferring utilities, all that stuff can come in play at that time, between that time and the closing date, right? So then there is no backing out, the idea there, right? Closing preparation, your lawyer will basically conduct title search. They will prepare statement of adjustments, calculate the land transfer tax. As a first time home buyer, you guys get land transfer tax rebate as well. And I'll show you how much rebate you get on all that. And if somebody's got a specific question, put it in the chat. I'll be happy to help you there with. Again, if somebody want to know how much is the closing cost, how much is the legal fee, we all cover that. I'll be happy to help you answering those questions. Sorry, so I'm just gonna go into the chat and just check if somebody's put in any questions and just answer those and then come back here again. Let me just take a look, sorry. No, I don't see any questions there. Okay, so yeah, Sayed Hassan just put a message there. He's saying he might not be able to stay entire duration. If possible, please share the recording. And yes, I will do that. Definitely, that'll be there. Okay, so I don't see any questions in the chat, but yes, please put in your specific questions in the chat. Then I'll be happy to help you there. I did share my Calendly link in the chat as well, where you can book a one-on-one virtual meeting with me, and that way I can discuss your needs one-on-one. There is no obligation there. There's no commitment there. That's just a conversation to see where you are at in the journey of buying a home and how can I help, and we can kind of work towards achieving that goal of home ownership, right? That's the idea there. Okay, so there's no questions in the chat, so I'll go back to chat in a little bit again. I did share my link again for setting up booking a virtual meeting, which you can do. So we were at okay, let me go back, sorry. Firm deal, closing preparation, we talked about. Then on closing day, what happens? Basically, your funds get transferred, title get registered onto the buyer's name, you get the keys for the property, right? That's a typical home buying process. Budget for closing costs, approximately 1.5 to 4% of purchase price. It includes land transfer tax, which is basically there's an Ontario land transfer tax and there's a Toronto land transfer tax. If you're buying a property in Toronto, you will have to pay the 2 times the land transfer tax because it's available. You have to apply the land transfer tax for Ontario and for Toronto. But if anything outside of Toronto you buy, then you are only will be responsible to pay land transfer tax for Ontario. Then Toronto will not be applicable for you. Legal fees. That will be basically you have to pay to the lawyer. Typically for a home purchase, it all depends. It could be anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, right? Typically. And that includes title insurance in there as well, because that lawyers will kind of have that title insurance done for you. And any adjustments are part of that closing costs as well. Any property taxes, any utilities which seller have paid in advance, and you have to pay back the seller. So that adjustment is done by the lawyer. They will do all the calculations. Then you have to have a home insurance in place as well for the closing date. So lawyer will look for that insurance document prior to closing. So you have to have that. Some quick rules here, smart buyer rules I always share. These are very important things to kind of share. No job changes before the closing date. No large credit purchases. Moving fast during conditional period would be a good thing for you. Review your numbers before you waive your conditions, because once the conditions are waived or fulfilled, then you are into a legal binding to take ownership of that property. So then there is no backing out. If you do back out, you will be getting lawsuits from the seller, and you will have to pay the damages, right? So that's the idea there. Do your numbers calculation before. Happy to chat with you. What's your budget? I can share numbers with you. My website is very good for that in calculating those numbers too, which I can share as well through the slides down the road, where I can show you how you can put in the numbers and play around with the numbers and see what budget makes sense for you, basically, right, to pay your monthly payments. Okay, getting a pre-approval, like I talked about, it's very important step. What is pre-approval? I get asked a lot of times. Some of you probably already know what's a pre-approval, but I'll quickly go over that. What's a pre-approval? It's an official document that a bank or a credit union is willing to give you with a specific amount of money based on your income, assets, and liabilities and credit scores. That's what I basically will look for. How do you start the process? You basically, like I said, you can book a call with Tony, you can talk to him, and these are the documents they will be probably looking for on the right here, like your driver's license, IDs, your SIN number, your address, your basically contact information, your employer details, could be letter of employment, could be pay stubs, right? So then your list of assets, your bank account balances, any properties you own, any liabilities you have, vehicles owned, maybe you have financed a vehicle, they need to know all that. Your confirmation of income, which could be notice of assessments or T4s or T1s, your pay stubs, like I mentioned already. So those are the things that mortgage advisor would need from you to kind of, look at your pre-approval. So that's where I kind of want to share that information here. What's the advantage? You will know exactly how much you can afford before you start looking. So, and you would know how much cash you need and what will be your monthly payments, right? So you get to know all of that. Um, you get the best financing with the lowest rates, with most affordable, favorable terms. And that's what is another advantage of that. Also, you can make a stronger offer because you will know you are pre-approved already, right? I see a lot of properties where you are in competition. So if you've got financing approval done already, you can probably even go to putting a firm offer without financing condition. And here, as a seller, if you think like you're getting two offers, one is buyer one getting no conditions, second same price, second buyer is paying but conditional upon financing, of course you would take the offer with no conditions because the property is getting sold right there, right? You know what I mean? That's the idea there, to get that financing approval. Okay, now finding your dream home, how I am different compared to the other agents. Like I talked about, I touched on how the process works for them and how does the process work for me. Um, how most realtors work, they will pick homes for you. They will do a random search on MLS, which is our multiple listing service. They will pick 6 to 8 homes. They will try to sell you one of them, right? But it's a wrong person deciding which homes you will get to see, right? So in my system, we've got a one of a kind buyer profile system, which we kind of set you up on. And we set up your home buying criteria entered into our computer database on my website backend, which will basically, what it will do is it'll every day look up the MLS to find homes that match your specific criteria, which could be the price range, the city, location, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, basement should be finished or not, how many garage should be there, or if it's a condo, how much maintenance fee should be there. So the idea there will be that my website will search for those homes and send you an email with basically details of those homes and with pictures and everything which match that criteria. So and we will send you homes that match your criteria, so you can pick those homes, you can look through them, you can drive by them, and when you see a home you want to look at, just give us a call or text me and I'll be able to happy to arrange a showing for you. There's no pressure to buy. You are basically selecting you on your own the home you want to see. I am not the one pushing the home to you. You are basically available to pick the home because you're going to get the email. And this email can come to you once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. As soon as a new property comes on the market, you will be the first one to know that. You will get that email right away sent over to you. What that means, basically, you are in control. You don't have to search homes online. There's no more pressure because basically I'm not picking homes for you. You are seeing the homes, every home coming on the market, and there's no pressure for you to buy what I'm suggesting you. You basically pick a home you like and you're ready to buy. That's when we will proceed with viewing and putting an offer on a home. And there's no more overpaying because you will beat out to the other buyers. As soon as the home comes in the market, you will be the first one to know. The same day you will know basically the new home has come into the market. That's how this system works here, right? Um, so this is basically our one of a kind system. That's where kind of I come in. I'm just gonna go to chat quickly just to take a look if anybody's got any questions there. Okay, I see a lot of questions. So that's good. I like that. I want it to be interactive. What benefits do first time home buyers have? Perfect question, Joe. I'm gonna touch on that. There are first time homebuyer programs available, which I have slides to cover that. So just hang on tight. I'll be going through that. When do we initiate home inspection? Sayed, when we put in the offer, we will make it conditional upon us doing the home inspection. And that typically happens from the offer acceptance within like 1 week time frame from that time frame, right? That's when we do it. And as part of home inspection, we hire a third party home inspector, we do the inspection. If something structurally comes wrong with the house, we can walk away from the home. But if there's some repairs needed, we can renegotiate the price, renegotiate with the seller that he needs to fix those things. But for the timing wise, we mention that in our agreement of purchase and sale, and it's typically done when agreement is accepted within 1 week of that time frame. That time frame we will put it on the agreement of purchase and sale. Will sellers share the closing costs like few percent? um, what it means is seller will pay their own share for lawyer's fee. What their closing cost they share is basically the adjustments. Like let's say your closing date is on 15th of the month, right? And let's say they have paid the property tax for the whole month. That means you are taking ownership for the property on 15th of the month. You are responsible for the 15 days of that month for your property tax share, and seller will be responsible for their share for the first 15 days. So lawyers are going to calculate those numbers and say, buyer, you're going to pay for the 15 days left over, which seller has already paid to the city. So that's how it works. It's done through the lawyer. Kinley, very good question. I'm happy to chat in detail one-on-one and kind of share even in more detail as to what those closing costs look like for a typical home purchase. Okay. Seller's credit, can you share more on this and who can avail it? For pre-approval, is it a soft check or a hard check? Tony can answer that question too. Okay, yeah, so I see Tony answering there already some questions. First-time homebuyers have multiple benefits such as land transfer tax rebates, buy with a little or 5% down, 30-year amortization. Yeah, perfect, Tony. Thank you so much for answering and jumping in there. For a pre-approval, it's a hard credit check. Yes, Sayed, that's what I was gonna say. I'm not sure what you mean by seller credit. Can you share more on this or who can avail it? Maybe I didn't understand your question, but definitely I'll try to attempt again. Maybe if you can put more things on the chat related to that question, then I can come back to you and answer you. Say it, no problem. And again, team, I'm going to share my link again, my Calendly meeting booking link, one-on-one. I just shared. You guys can book one-on-one call. It's usually a 30 minutes virtual call that we talk about where you are at in the process. We can talk about your personal stuff, where you are at in the journey of home buying. There is no obligation. You're not signing anything. So let me be very clear. We are just discussing and talking about the home buying process again one more time and see where you're at in the stage and how we can move forward to whenever you want to buy a home, whether that is in 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 months, 1 year, 6 months, whatever that may be. We can build up a plan and I can help you with that. That's the idea there. So that's why I highly recommend book a one-on-one meeting with me, and we'll be happy to chat through that on the other side of things. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. And I'll go back to the chat. Perfect point there. You ask excellent questions. I'm sure one person asked a question, but a lot of people can take advantage of from the answer from that question, right? Yeah, so I want to touch on this off-market properties as well. So I have access to off-market properties too. These properties include coming soon to MLS properties, bank foreclosures, distress sales, properties not found online, builder closeouts, unlisted properties, expired listings. So these properties are properties which are not on the market. If you have decided and you're narrowed down to an area in a price range and a type of home you're looking for, we sit down, you tell me all that criteria. What I do basically is, and I have done that in the past, and this happened in late 2025, we had a buyer that wanted a particular type of home in a particular neighborhood of one. Uh, he has a specified budget, and what I did basically, I put an ad out in that area, and basically also sent these letters out that I'm sharing here in the picture here in the slideshow, sorry. And basically I share, say, everybody, all the homes in the neighborhood. I send this letter out saying, simple mail, that I have got a buyer who's interested in kind of buying this kind of a home, and if you're interested or thinking of selling, just call me or book a video. Like, I usually even record a video and say that what are my requirements for that home, and I get a lot of calls from the sellers on that too. And in fact, last year what happened, I got calls from a couple of people. One home actually I went to see, and it matched exactly my buyer's needs. I ended up booking an off-market showing because that home was not on MLS, not online. So I booked a showing with my buyer, private showing. He loved the home, and actually I negotiated that completely off market. So this is something available to you as well. If you want to touch more on that, again, I suggest booking one-on-one meeting, and I can explain the whole process for these off-market properties to you as well. Okay, but I thought I'll touch that here as well. Specialized strategy: when you're ready to make an offer on your dream home, we'll discuss the best strategy, like the offer price, what it should be, because we will look at what homes are selling in the neighborhood. I'll give you comparables to compare about, and then we'll come up to an agreement of an offer price. Financing terms, we'll talk about that and discuss in full detail before we put the offer. Interest rates, you will know from somebody working with like Tony or your mortgage advisor with the bank. We'll discuss cost to close, closing costs. I'll share and be transparent with everything. We'll talk about the possession date, like the date you get your keys. Inspection details, we'll touch on that too. Like, what does that process look like? How much do the home inspectors charge to do home inspection? What does that home inspection look like? Like, I've done so many home inspections with the home inspectors in multiple homes, so I can kind of share my experience there with you, no problem. With booking you one-on-one call on the in the chat box, just book through my Calendly meeting link. Then offer preparation and negotiation. So we help you preparing your offer with all those conditions and amendments, and we basically present the offer on your behalf. And we negotiate those back and forth between seller and the buyer, like yourself, and represent your best interest, right? And secure a property with best possible terms and best price, right? Like the cheapest as possible. That's the idea there. Just one more thing to emphasize. I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide, but again, like I said, we have been doing this for years. Our whole team is expert. They know all things about local market, inventory, zoning, land use, construction, everything. I have access to even pre-construction homes if you are looking to buy a pre-construction home. Some my person might have question about HSC rebate also. We'll touch on that a little bit. But my webinar is not about pre-construction, but definitely book a one-on-one call with me. I have access to excellent properties for pre-construction in Caledon, in Mississauga, in Brampton. I can help you with booking a pre-construction as well, because builders are looking to sell those attractively. So I have access to those as well. Happy to help you with those properties as well. I don't sell only resale, I do sell pre-construction as well. Okay. Some of the guarantees I offer, I just always put it on the table, and I want to share: love your new home guaranteed, or we will sell it at a discount. So what I offer as part of this guarantee is, we want you to like your home that you're buying. Like, I'm not pushing you to buy a home. You're picking a home that you like and you're moving in there. If you do not like that home for whatever reason within the first year, I'm happy to make it right for you. I will sell it at a discounted commission because, as I told you, seller pays the commission. So I'll be happy to give you a discount on that commission. And again, like I said, book a one-on-one call. I can explain you how does this guarantee work, and can explain more details about that. Um, Honest promises guaranteed. So what I'm saying here is, like, I put it in writing saying I'm not going to promise you moon and stars to get your business. That's not what I'm here about. I'm here about being transparent, being clear, being giving you options all the time, right? I'll tell you upfront what I can do and what I will not be able to do, right? With a clear language. So there are no surprises for you. That's what I kind of, offer as part of this guarantee to people. So because I want to be transparent, I've been doing this for a while, and I have a lot of experience in dealing with different type of clients, different buyers, different price ranges. And my services, you will notice there is no difference if somebody is buying a $300,000 apartment versus somebody is buying a $2 million home. My services are exactly the same. They're client driven. They are not driven based on the value of the home. Okay. Um, Closing on your home, and basically what I mean by there is we have access to lawyers, home inspectors, appraisers, title insurance companies. We can help you with that. If you got your own real estate lawyer, happy to work with them, no problem at all. But if you need help with those recommendations, I'll be happy to recommend it to you. Even for lawyer, I usually share a couple of names. I tend to say people, okay, call both of them. Whoever is giving you best service, best price, maybe go with that and pick how you want to do it. So same way for home inspectors, I'll give you a couple of options. You can pick, call both of them, check their fees and things like that. That's what we offer as an expert being, help. Worthy cause, just to share. I mean, I do make money in real estate, selling homes, buying homes. I do donate to local charities. One is Sick Kids. I kind of support them 100%. They are a very good organization. Covenant House is in Toronto is another one. They help youths who are homeless and things like that. So I do, support that charity as well. So I basically work with these two to support, and I'm happy to donate it to one of these charities on your name if you doing giving us business as a referral, right? I even offer a referral program where if you connect with me with a name, phone number of someone who buy or sell a house through me, you will collect a referral gift, a cash gift of $500. I help people with that, just as a thank you note. Um, and all I ask in return basically is the loyalty, right, from clients. So I'm gonna put a lot of effort in it. We don't get paid until the home closes, right? So the idea of me representing you is getting you pre-qualified, getting you access to the new listings as soon as they come on the market, right? Get you priority access to off-market properties if you want. My whole team have the leading edge technology to support you with whatever needs you have. We provide written satisfaction guarantee, and there's free cancellation anytime. If you're not satisfied with your representation, we can cancel the agreement anytime. So I offer that as well. We can talk about first time home buyer programs. Some of them Tony already mentioned in there. I'm going to summarize those here as well. Let me just quickly go to the chat and just see if there's any question that I can help. Will you and your team help the buyer with a 1 year home warranty, likely being paid by the seller or on close cost sharing? Perfect question, Kinley. Yes, we do that. Both options I can support you with. Sometimes have clients who pay as a buyer for the 1 year guarantee, but definitely something can be negotiated where seller can pay that for 1 year guarantee. I can do that for sure. Just book a meeting and can explain you that how that process works, but definitely happy to work with that. Absolutely good question. And definitely some buyers don't want any surprises as they kind of move into the house. They want that satisfaction. So we can get that 1 year guarantee negotiated from the seller so they can, or we do it, but they pay for the cost. So definitely that can be negotiated as part of the agreement. Perfect question. Again, I shared my Calendly link. Advise everybody, book your meeting. Happy to chat one-on-one. You're not signing anything there. There's no obligation. We're just getting to understand each other and see where you're at in the home buying journey, and happy to help from there on. Okay, let me go to the slides here. Okay, so first home savings account, FHSA, that's something which got introduced by the government, or the banks are offering this right now. It's basically a tax deductible account for first time buyers. And key numbers here are about $8,000 annual contribution room, total $40,000 lifetime limit per person. If you are with your partner, you can, double that. And carry forward rules apply, like you can carry forward 1 year, like up to $8,000. Who qualifies? Canadian first time home buyers, right? So there are some rules around that. Who's a first time home buyer? So you can visit CRA and check those rules, and I'll be happy to talk as well through my meeting if you need to. Tony can help you with that too. How to apply? Open an FHSA at most major banks or brokers. Use the forms or portals, whatever. Tip, use FHSA and home buyers plan together if needed. CRA allows both for same home under conditions. Treat FHSA as a primary down payment vehicle because withdrawals are tax free and no repayment is required from these FHSAs, right? It's a good benefit. I think governments come through. Home buyers plan, that's basically an RRSP withdrawal. You can withdraw up to $60,000 from RRSPs to help buying a first home, and this $60,000 per person. And this money is repayable through RRSP over the 15 years. And the key number is $60,000 per person, right? So who qualifies? First time buyers again, who meet CRA conditions. How to apply? You have to request your withdrawal. Tony can guide you through that in more details as well, right? So that's where I kind of want to mention that there. Let's go to some other advantages you have. There's first time home buyers tax credit. You can apply for and get that. There is federal GST, HST new home rebates. They are kind of in kind of, for the new construction available as well. CMHC mortgage insurance options, first time home buyers. That's basically when you're paying less than 20%. So that's available. Ontario land transfer tax refund. That's basically provincial wide, and also Toronto municipal land transfer tax rebate if you're buying a home in Toronto. So those are the some of the benefits available to first time home buyer. The new GST, HST, pre-construction home purchase rebate is applicable to not only first-time home buyers, they are available to anybody who's buying a pre-construction, but that there are strict dates around that. So happy to chat about that also in detail, that you can get 13% off of the purchase price. I think we're pretty much coming to the end of thing. Thank you everybody. I mean, for joining 7:53. I'm gonna go back to chat again. If somebody wanna raise their hand and come off mute and ask a question as well, I give that chance too. Sometimes people wanna do that. Sometimes people are not comfortable. Then you can put your questions in the chat again. There's a picture with my broker Scott Gilmore, I guess, receiving that award. So my office again is in Mississauga. Cancross Code, which is here, Ontario and Matheson. Happy to meet face to face to anybody. You can book a meeting there. There's no obligation. Again, we chat, discuss, and see what your buying needs are. Some of my real estate portfolio, not to show off so much, I just want to share that information that I do help people buying homes in secondary markets. I support, there's a town called North Bay, Ontario, which is about 3 hours drive from Vaughan, where I am right now. From Toronto, you can say it's about 3.5 hours. There's multiplexes properties available at very reasonable prices. If you are thinking about, investing in real estate, talk to me, book that meeting with me. I can show you some numbers and show you some properties there. The top two buildings side by side, I'm sure some of you have seen these kind of buildings in Toronto as well. They have some of these, but these are not in Toronto. These are in North Bay, Ontario. This is a sixplex that I own. There are 3 units in the left building, 3 units in the right building, and middle driveway with the parking at the back. So it's a sixplex that I purchased 5 years ago, I just renewed the mortgage for the sixplex. So I bought that 5 years ago for like $725,000, right? And very good cash flowing property. And these are positive cash flowing properties. Like after the rent's paid, after the bills are paid, property taxes are paid, still there is cash flow left, which is positive in your account. So that's the idea there to buy these properties. Bottom left, I own a duplex, which I bought brand new from a builder. It's a duplex. On the left side, it's a semi-detached home. There's legal 2 units in the property. The ground floor and second floor is one unit, and there's a second unit on the top floor. Fully rented, positive cash flowing again. This is a single family home I own in Whitby, so Whitby, Ontario, so all over GTA. So that's where it's rented to a single family. That also I own. Again, all these properties are in North Bay. The top left is fiveplex, 5 units, positive cash flowing again. Triplex, very good cash flowing triplex that I call it a cash flow machine. All 3 units, very good rent rates. And we've got a local property manager there who's managing these properties. So I'm not worried. I'm not getting calls on anything. He's managing these properties. Even the property management fees are included. And out of that, still, we are making a positive cash flow after paying a property manager. Triplex at the bottom as well that I own, like another triplex in North Bay that I own. So just I thought I'll just share the portfolio. I've helped a lot of home investors here from Toronto, Brampton, Pickering, all over the place buying these properties. Like a client of mine bought a duplex again in North Bay, top left, fourplex for 440K, 4 units, legal 4 units. 410K triplex at the bottom left, middle right, middle bottom triplex 547,000, duplex for 325,000. It's basically what my clients have done is they've purchased their primary home here, they're living here, then they've got home equity line of credit available. And then they borrow from home equity line of credit, and then they invest in these secondary markets and buy these investment properties. I've helped a lot of buyers from GTA to buy these and secure these properties, right? So, and I work with a lot of sellers there in North Bay as well. It's about 3 hours drive, so you could visit a property and take a look at it in like a day trip. It's not like far, so that's where it's kind of have access to. Last slide, I think this is, and then I'll open my website and show you where the calculators are, where you can play around with some numbers and all too. These are some of those new information that I got on the rebates. I'm not gonna go into detail, but again, if you are booking a pre-construction home, how does the rebates get applied? And I can talk about it in my one-on-one meeting with you. The agreement of purchase and sale has to be written between certain dates. That's April 2026 to 31st March 2027. That's when you can apply. If somebody signed an agreement of purchase and sale in March of 2026, those rebates do not apply. So I want to be clear with that. There are strict timelines and dates, but we can touch on that through our one-on-one. Let me go to the chat if there's any further questions anybody's got. No, I don't see any more questions. Again, like I said, I shared my link and I've shared it multiple times in the meeting chat that you can book a one-on-one meeting with me, which is a virtual meeting, no obligation, and we talk through the scenario, can help you with any questions. If you got your particular scenario about financing, things like that, I can help you with that. Okay, let me go to my website. It's very simple, buyandSellWithKapoor.com or gtlstatetoday.com. Those are the website links. I can even put those in the chat as well. On my website, if you go to buyers and there's calculators, so you can click on calculators, and this is basically the calculator available on my website that you can use. The middle portion calculator is about calculating your mortgage payments, interest rates, and things like that. The bottom calculator is basically for the land transfer tax calculator. For example, I'm just going to play around some numbers. You're buying a $500,000 property, and in, let's say, Woodbridge, I put in here. But if, let's say, this is in Toronto, I'll select Toronto. Then see, there is provincial land transfer tax and municipal. But if you are a first time home buyer, I'm going to take this. It's going to give me a rebate of $84.75. So your land transfer tax for a $500,000 property in Toronto as a first-time home buyer will be $44.75. You can play with this if you have a different city, you're looking for something in Mississauga. Then the municipal tax goes away. Then provincial tax will be $64.75. As a first-time home buyer, you get a rebate of $4,000. So your land transfer tax drops to $24.75 at the closing, with which you have to pay to the lawyer. Okay, so you can play around with this mortgage land transfer tax calculator. This is the mortgage calculator. So again, you can play around with the numbers here. Let's say you're planning to buy $800,000 property. You can, and where that is in Toronto, you can put in whatever city. Let's say somebody is buying it in Mississauga. You can pick a down payment you want, but it's picking, this is the lowest down payment it will take, because you can pay 5% for properties valued up to 500,000, but anything above you have to pay more. So this is the lowest down payment you need to have for $800,000 property as a first time home buyer. But you can play around with numbers. You can put 10, you can change it to 20. If you put 20% down payment, it'll calculate the mortgage amount, because see here, if it's below 20%, it's adding CMHC insurance here to the mortgage amount, which you're going to pay over the years. You're not going to pay that upfront. Again, same thing with 10%, 22,000 gets added to the mortgage amount. If you pay 20%, then that CMHC insurance goes away, because then that doesn't apply. Then amortization, you can play around with this as well. If you want 30-year amortization, Tony mentioned you have some option available. You can even pick mortgage rates, right? Play around with these numbers. With this 4.04 5-year fix, some Canadian lender is offering it. I do not know who it is, but the monthly payment will be $37.09. But if you want to put in and rate that you think maybe it's 4%, select that rate, it'll calculate the payment for you, right? But if you select that, it's telling you, look, big six banks are offering 4.14. This is 5-year fix. You can even change it to what's the 3-year fix look like, right? From a Canadian lender. Bank of Montreal is offering 4.29 and things like that. So you can play around with this calculator. The idea is basically for you to get to your numbers and say, well, this is what your monthly payment's gonna be, and are you comfortable with that? And this is the exact calculator. I can walk you through even in one-on-one sessions and meeting, where we can play around with numbers and see what your budget is. One question that Tony, I want to ask. Typically, I tend to say this, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you've got a good credit score, not so many loans and things like that, typically lenders will look at your income and multiply your income by like 4 to 4.5 to give you the mortgage amount, approximate calculation. That's what I tend to kind of do, to tell my clients. Tony, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I've been kind of doing as a guideline. If somebody's making $100,000, multiply by that by 4.5. So bank can give you a mortgage for $450,000 if everything else is good. And then you can add your down payment to it. Let's say your down payment is 50,000, then you know you're eligible to buy a property for 500,000, right? So just to give some rough calculations there.
Yeah, Gautam, that's fairly accurate. That's what we go by as well.
Perfect. Good
The
stuff.
rates are a little bit lower right now for first-time home buyers, so stress test is in our favor right now as well.
Good. Perfect.
But yeah, that's what we go by, 4 to 4.5 times earning power.
Yeah.
Whatever your salary, commission income, we can go up to 4.5. And one thing I just want to say is that there's lenders outside the big five banks that are even offering lower rates than what the big five banks are advertising. They're all A lenders. And
Perfect.
the other thing is with first-time home buyers, I just want to be very clear is that there's no fees that are charged because as an independent mortgage agent, the institution pays us. So
Okay,
I just
that's
want
a
to make
good
that
good
clear.
information to know, I think, because people tend to kind of get confused with that. That if we are going with mortgage broker, do we need to pay a fees? No, you do not need to pay a fees as a first-time home buyer. And again, talk to Tony. He will be very transparent and tell you upfront what it's all about. But again, rough idea from the income, 4 to 4.5 times your income. That's what we kind of tend to look for. if your credit score is good and you don't have any other debts and liabilities and stuff like that, right? That's how typically we calculate it roughly. Any other final questions anybody's got? Thank you for spending the hour. It's 8:05. Time went by so fast, but my idea was to cover as much information as possible. I hope it's beneficial to you, and kind of help you along the way. You probably gotten to know some more things. Um, I'm just kind of looking at attendees. I'm sure some attendees might have to go or something, but most of the people stick around. Thank you so much for taking the time. But again, I recommend book the meeting one-on-one. There is no loss to booking that meeting. And that's where we can chat one-on-one. We can address any other questions you have. You probably have some unique scenarios you want to discuss. Could be related to self-employment income and things like that. And Tony's good at that too. He will look at your income in a way that whatever your salaried income is, if you're self-employed, there will be self-employed income. And he can look at all the numbers and suggest you the way to get a mortgage approved, right? So that's the idea there. So first step, always book a call, book a meeting at your convenience because it's just a virtual meeting. So where we'll talk in half an hour and work through your unique scenario and see where you're at in the home buying journey. But again, I emphasize it's a buyer's market. I recommend highly to get into the real estate right now if you're thinking about buying a home. The activity has started. I even posted, if somebody want to follow me on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, I post a lot of things. Just like about a week and a half ago, I was in Milton, so I was showing homes. The activity I think has started for the first time home buyers. Condo market is a little bit different, but on the homes, every home was busy in showings, right? In open houses, it was busy, packed. People are trying to visit as many places and trying to buy and secure. Mortgage rates have hit the bottom. From here on, I think they're going to tend to go up moving forward. That's where I think a lot of people have come out now out of that um, uncomfortable zone, I would say, and they're more pretty thinking pretty safe now to buy a home. So a lot of activity has happened. A couple of homes that my client liked, they all ended up in competition. They were listed for 799 with fixed offer dates, and they all got like six offers, right? Like both of them, and got sold. One got sold for about 850, I think. The second one is sold conditional. The amount is not disclosed, but the idea is I'm saying activity has started to happen. You will not see that in the news so much because news always is behind. You will see that in the news probably in next 30 to 60 days. But as I've shown you with the stats, activity has started to increase. So that basically is saying, I'm saying is this is the best time if you're planning to buy, upgrade, even that's the best option for you too, because yeah, you will sell maybe at the market value, which is lower than the COVID time, but you will buy low as well, right? So I recommend that if you're looking for a bigger home, you currently have a home, happy to chat on that and tell you how much value you will be, how much money you will be able to save. Same way my client in Kitchener had a condo, one bedroom, small condo. He moved into a bigger condo because that's what he wanted. So because he wanted a bigger condo, so he got a good price for that, right? So upgrading time, home buying time, perfect time to do that. Any final questions, thoughts from anybody? Want to ask any questions? Chat. You can come off mute, raise your hand, whatever you like. Um, Good. Kinley saying thank you, Gautam and Tony, for sharing the info for your time. You definitely keep in touch going forward. Perfect, Kinley. Thank you so much for joining again, everybody. It was 1 hour. Definitely time well spent. The time flew by so fast. But my idea was to share as much information as possible. But again, like I said, the home buying process, we talked about different steps. Anybody and everybody could be at a different stage in that process, right? And that's my a kind of promise there to move you forward from there on, right? So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen here so I can come on camera. Yes, I am on camera, definitely. Okay, good stuff. All right, thank you everybody for joining today, and I'm gonna end the call now. If there are no more questions, if somebody wanna stay after, Even they can stay on and go on unmute and themselves and ask a question live if you want to, no problem. Happy to help with that